temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, was praying thus: God, I thank you that I am not like other people, thieves, rogues, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give a tenth of all my income. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but was beating his breast and saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his home justified rather than the other. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, but all who humble themselves will be exalted. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Another thing I'll figure out as we kind of, where am I saying? I don't know. Today I'm going to try right here, right? So we're going to begin a new sermon series. Some of you are thinking, yeah, it's a good time that Exodus is over. As it went on, I realized Exodus gets denser as it goes on, not more interesting, but still, we made it through. You all read the whole book of the Bible. But when I was thinking of what we would study this summer as we're in this building and then thinking about the needs of the community outside our door and the needs of the area we live in, I thought about this book that I read multiple years ago, and a new edition of it just came out, and it's called Seculosity. It's a portmanteau. Does anybody know what that is? Any English people? Portmanteau is a word, yeah. So that is a figure of speech or term. I taught it in high school English. It's when two words are smashed together and then have a meaning of their own when they're smashed together. So what two words are smashed together here? Secular and religiosity. That's good. So. Yeah, that's right. So David Zahl, who wrote this book, he starts off by telling about his friend Sherry, and his friend Sherry. This story that he tells, it sounds like a joke until you realize it's not a joke; it's a diagnosis. And so, a diagnosis of kind of the people outside our doors and in the community around us and us. He's kind of diagnosing us. She says, I'll give you one clue. And she kind of baits Zahl to guess where she and her family are moving. It's a place where no one's religious, but everyone is super religious. He tried to keep up with her cynicism about it. That doesn't exactly narrow it down, he thought. Because it doesn't, does it? Where no one is religious, but everyone is kind of super religious. She was talking actually about San Francisco, but she could just as easily have been talking about Alexandria or London or New York or Oxford, or maybe your office at work, or your family WhatsApp thread. She could have been talking about that. Or if we're honest, maybe even the private kind of spaces of our own heart, too. A place where no one's religious, but everyone is kind of super religious. Hold that line in your head for a second, and just put it right there. Put it in your pocket. I don't care where to keep it. As we kind of step into this story of Jesus today. It's a popular one. You know it. 2 men went up to the temple to pray. Luke says. And so, not 2 caricatures, 2 human beings went up to the temple to pray, though it does seem like they're caricatures. 2 hearts, 2 histories, 2 background stories, 2 strategies for staying alive inside their own skin and inside this world, right? They both went into the temple to pray. And the first stands where the light is good. He looks up easily. He prays, and it sounds suspiciously like a kind of a performance review as he does it. God, I thank you that I'm not like the other people. Those thieves and rogues and adulterers and even like those tax collectors. I fast twice a week. I give a tenth of my income. He has kind of spiritual CV. He's reading it out. He is a morally serious man, obviously, disciplined and reliable. If he were in our church, maybe, we might make him treasurer. I don't know. The second man, though, kind of hangs back. He stands, and Luke says he stands far off. He doesn't even trust his feet on holy carpet. And know whether he even belongs here. He can't even lift his eyes up. And his fist kind of finds his chest, as if to say, the problem is here with me. And he prays one sentence, and like a single breath, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. No defense, no, at least no promise to do any better. Just need and kind of nakedness, and it's all unadored, all unadorned, right? It's just there. And then Jesus delivers the verdict, like this thunderclap out of nowhere. I tell you, this man went down to his home justified rather than the other. The wrong one ends up winning. The righteous man, the visibly good man, the one you make treasure, this has nothing to do with UCB, I promise you, walks home unjustified. The failure, the collaborator, the one with nothing to commend himself, goes home right with God. And so 2 people walk into the temple, he says. 2 prayers, 2 religions. One is the religion of self-justification. I am enough because of what I do, what I avoid, how I compare. And the other is the cry of someone who's run out of everything. Even run with his actual feet out of the story. If I'm ever going to be okay, it will have to be mercy. Nothing else will hold. That's a completely different religion. Already we get very close to the heart of this new series, Seculosity. Zal, the author, tells us more about his friend Sherry. She grew up in kind of strict religious household systems about which these dramas kind of unfolded. Maybe you know these dramas. Bible verses on walls, rules about everything. God mentioned very frequently. Shame never far away from that mentioning. And there's nothing quite like the anxiety of the devout, or the kind of shame that's marshaled in defense of orthodoxy. And Sherry would talk about this. She had, you might think, every reason to hate religion, to hate churches and clergy and creeds, all of it, to hear the Pharisees' prayer and taste vile. And so David, the author, once asked her, why aren't you angrier? Gosh, I've wanted to ask that of many of you. Why are you angrier? And her answer is one of the doorways in this book that I think really captures us. Growing up in all that intensity, she said, had given her this strange superpower. She could smell piety in the air like pizza. And the wake-up call of adulthood was realizing for her that this anxious religiosity was not confined to the church. She smelled it everywhere she went. Pizza. Friends left small religious towns for big, open-minded cities to escape moralism and judgment. Maybe this is you. They fled capital R religion in search of freedom. And when they arrived, new sermons and new sacraments, different vocabulary, but the same pressure. New orthodoxies about food and sex and politics and parenting and bodies and work. New heresies, swiftly punished. New rituals, closely policed. New ways of being clean and unclean, in and out, righteous and unrighteous. Gosh, we give the church a lot of crap for this. But it's everywhere. It sounds like a sketch from Portlandia. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but Zoll notes it's empirically true. The religious impulse is easier to rebrand than to extinguish. So we just go find it somewhere else. We read statistics about church decline. We're in decline, if you didn't know. And imagine that people have become less religious. They just don't care about religion. It's inconsequential to them. Zoll says that's not actually quite right. What's collapsed is confidence in the old religious narratives. What hasn't collapsed, what can't collapse, is the need those narratives were trying to meet to begin with. The need for hope, the need for purpose, for connection, justification, the need for enoughness. The altars have moved, the offerings have changed, the sacrifices have not stopped. We may be sleeping in on Sunday mornings, more of us, in greater numbers. But we've never been more pious. Religious observance hasn't faded. Secularization, it's migrated, and we've got the anxiety to prove it, right? Our culture has the anxiety to prove this. We're seldom not in some church. So to see this clearly, we kind of need a broader definition of religion than like robes, if we were a church that did robes, or chalice and paten. I don't know if you knew that was the names of those, or hymnals. Zoll borrows from this other writer, Dark, who calls religion the controlling story. The question of how we dispose our energies around us, how we see fit to organize our own lives. And in many cases, the lives of others too. Religion, in a sense, is not just how we explain the universe. It's how we hold together our entire existence. Did you know that the root word of religion is the same as ligament? It's what holds it all together. It's the lens through which we sort the data of everything going on around us, our days, and rank our priorities in life, and focus our desires in life. And Zoll sharpens the point, our small r religion then is what we rely on to tell us we're okay. It's our preferred guilt management system, whatever that is. It is the justifying story of our life, and they're all different, but they're all the same. Not just what we think about God, but what we lean on to convince ourselves that our existence is valid. Think of the Pharisee again. He isn't just listing habits, he's narrating a justification. I am not those people. I fast. I tithe. I am diligent. Therefore, I deserve to be here. He's preaching a sermon to his own anxious heart. And we all do this. We all preach whatever sermon we think we need for our own anxious heart. I am my achievements. I am my children's outcomes. I am my productivity. I am my politics. I am my victimhood. I am my goodness. I am not like them, whoever that is. That story, whatever shape it takes for you, is your small r religion. The tax collector, by contrast, has run out of story. He has no spin left on it. No record to wave or try to make sense of. His only hope is that God's mercy will be bigger than his failure. And Jesus says that man went home justified. Justified, that kind of deep word of the Bible. That's a real biblical word used for being in the right with God. Even though we don't come to church as often as we used to, and some of us don't at all, we've never stopped wanting to know if we're in the right with God. The verdict we chase in 1,000 other places is still that. There's another part of the Bible in Ezekiel that talks about this, and the idols of our hearts. I'm not sure if I even like the word idol as it relates to this series, because these are really good things. So I don't want you to think of them as a golden calf, kind of. You need to break them down, get rid of your work, get rid of your parenting. That's kind of not what I want you to think of it as. But Ezekiel 14 gives us a scene that could take place in any lounge or any committee meeting or any job place, also any vestry. Elders of Israel come and sit before the prophet, religious men, respectable, the sort you would know how to behave. They would know how to behave in a sanctuary, right? May not be treasurer, but they would know how to be church people. And the word of the Lord comes in that space. These men have taken their idols into their hearts and set the stumbling block of their iniquity before their faces. Should I indeed let myself be consulted by them? Notice where the idols are, not on pagan altars, but in their hearts. Outwardly, they come to inquire of the Lord. Inwardly, they already have their own gods kind of installed, their own justifying stories, their own little systems of righteousness. That is the word of seculosity. Our idols today are not often carved in stone, but they're recorded in spreadsheets and carved in timetables and lit up on screens. And then there's this other story with Paul. St. Paul looks at the ancient world and gives language for what they're living. Kind of looks at our world as we are reading Paul now. Though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him. But they became futile. But they became futile in their thinking, and their senseless minds were darkened. And then this is my favorite part. Claiming to be wise, they became fools, and they exchanged the glory of God for images resembling mortal human beings. Paul is naming seculosity. We don't stop worshiping. We just exchange the object of our worship. And worship never stops, it just migrates. And so Zoll suggests that if you listen carefully to our moment in time right now, our world, you'll hear the word enough everywhere you go. Successful enough, happy enough, thin enough, wealthy enough, influential enough, desired enough, charitable enough, woke enough, good enough. We live with a fantasy self in our heads, and so does everyone else out there. Some kind of fantasy self we are always failing to become. And wherever that fantasy takes hold, righteousness quickly becomes cruelty. People who think they're good oftentimes can be mean. They often feel good about being mean even. and they're constantly striving to be good. That's the Pharisee. His goodness depends on someone to look down on. I thank you that I'm not like you. This is what Sherry recognized, too, from her upbringing. A culture thick with outward piety becomes merciless, full of self-justification, self-consciousness, full of fear. A place that crucifies rather than forgives. And here's the sting. That same spirit inhabits all of our replacement religions. The wellness Pharisee, perhaps. I thank you that I am not like those people who eat that. The political Pharisee. I thank you that I am not like those who vote that way. The parenting Pharisee. I thank you that I am not like those parents. The online Pharisee. I thank you that I am not like those ignorant people. And we divide the world into us and them, and righteous and unrighteous, and we feel wonderfully justified in our contempt. Seculosity keeps all the demand of the religion and quietly discards the mercy over time. And most of us don't need a real Pharisee in the room to feel condemned. Pretty good at it ourselves. We have one already inside our heads, right? We have the inside Pharisee, an inner accountant keeping meticulous records, an inner prosecutor rehearsing the case against us. You're behind, you've wasted too much time, you're not enough. The tax collector, though, has no record to waive. God, be merciful to me. I'm a sinner. And Jesus says this man went home to be justified. Justified, there it is again, the verdict we chase in our work, and in our family, and in our politics, and in our bodies, and in our feeds. The gospel's staggering claim is that the verdict doesn't come at the end of your performance. It comes at the beginning of your life with God. The tax collector goes home justified, not because he's climbed high enough, not because in Christ God has come low enough, but because in Christ, Christ's love has made him enough. And so today, this really amazing day, amazing. Today for us is this day of incredible joy. This first Sunday in this new building after 10 years of doing this mobile thing. And for a decade, we have been, in a very literal way, I think, people without a permanent sanctuary, kind of worshipers on wheels. We've longed and we've prayed and we've given and we've labored. We've waited for bricks and mortar, for rooms where ministry can grow roots and actually grow, for doors we don't have to kind of give back. And now we're here. It's all proof of all of that. And it would be very easy, almost natural, to make this building a new ladder. We're not like those churches. To make this building a way to say, look what we've done. This is church enough. We've arrived. Today we have arrived. We pressed ourselves through those doors. We came and sat in these seats. But there is something that you have to have gotten at here. We haven't given you the key. We haven't given you the key to this building yet. No, not all of you will have the key to this building. But the key is like a really practical thing, right? Something you get to hold in your hand and think about how you're a part of something bigger. And it's also a parable. A key looks a little bit like power. It opens and closes. It can lock others out. It can let others in. Today we have not the keys that look like the keys that I will have on my actual key ring, but today we have a skeleton key. You have these beautiful name tags now. But you here today, I want you to attach this to your name tag. Come forward for communion and grab one as you come. The skeleton key is a reminder that these doors, these rooms, these walls are not trophies of our success, but gifts of God's mercy. You are not a trophy either, but a gift of God's mercy. God be merciful to me, a sinner, is the only key that fits the kingdom's lock. And we're the only place who says that. This building is not a monument to our seculosity, our frantic need to justify ourselves with some kind of postcode now. It is to be God helping us, a house where the tax collector's prayer is always at home here, right? A place where Pharisees, religious and secular, can find rest. So when you clip this key to your lanyard, let it preach to you. Let it say, this is not your ladder, this is your shelter. It is not your achievement, this is a gift. This is not the place you come to prove yourself. This is the place you come to discover you already are. May this building be a sign that God chooses to dwell among us. Be merciful to me, God. And as we go on with this series, you're going to see the other things that we're going to talk about over the coming weeks. We're going to walk slowly and honestly through some of the main altars of our modern seculosity. I am what I do. I am who loves me. I think we have moving. I am how my children turn out. I am how needed and connected I am. I am how right my side is. I am what I eat and how I look as the band comes forward. I am my goodness and my enlightenment and my correctness. I will not do this to sneer. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to point at these to sneer these good gifts. But I will, as Zal try to offer a perspective and a diagnosis and a need for Jesus. So this is your invitation today. And you know, the one other thing that I loved that Zal says, and it's the easy way to figure out, what's your lowercase r religion? He asks the question, where are you most tired? Where are you most tired? Where are you most tired? You will often find self-justification hard at work, where you're most tired. Maybe it's at a desk, or in your parenting, or in your activism, or your social media, or your body. Wherever it is, name it. And then speak those 7 words. God, be merciful to me, I'm a sinner. Let's pray.